Thank you for watching Let's Get Political. I'm, of course, your host, Alicia Reese. Today we have State Representative Mike Caruso with us, answering 13 questions. Thank you for taking the time.
My pleasure.
First question, who's your best friend at the Capitol?
That's an easy one. You know, I'm up here with my wife. I'm one of the fortunate ones. All my children are grown up and they're on their own now. So I'd say absolutely my beautiful wife, Tracy.
Who is your best friend from across the aisle?
Wow, that's, I've been up here on the Florida House for 6 years now. And I'd say Joe Casello. He's a representative for, I don't know what district number, but it's Delray Beach and Boynton Beach in Southeast Florida, and which is kind of butts up against my district. And we've worked together, run some bills together. Prime co-sponsored some of his bills. He's done the same with mine. And I'd say Joe Casello. He's a great guy, and ex-retired fireman. I guess once a fireman, always a firefighter. But Joe Casello.
What do you do when you aren't in Tallahassee and when you are in Tallahassee but not at the Capitol?
When I'm not in Tallahassee, I'd say, life focuses on my CPA firm, my wife, my kids, grandchildren, and get to see them. Play some tennis with friends, go out to dinner in Palm Beach, the Palm Beaches, and just enjoy life. Up here, it's pretty much work. I've got probably 100 appropriations I'm running, 7 bills, looking at other bills, trying to, affect legislation that other representatives are running. So pretty busy up here, but on the outside, we take trips to Thomasville. We take, I still play tennis up here and some of the fine dining in Tallahassee's finest restaurants.
What's your favorite bill that you put forth last year?
That's an easy one. HB 269. It was a bill that made acts of crime that involved anti-Semitism, religious and ethnic animus, made those a felony in the state of Florida, third-degree felony, punishable by 5 years in prison and a $5,000 fine. So with the rising, tide of anti-Semitism throughout the world, actually, we wanted to put a clamp down on it here in the state of Florida and not accept any little bit of it.
What's a bill that someone else put forth that you didn't realize you were passionate about until you read it?
A bill that I was passionate about is Clean Waterways Act. My whole thoughts and being a Florida state rep is without clean water, Florida's not Florida. Because if you go to the oceans and you can't swim in them, it's not a good day. If you go on a lake and they've got, tidal pollution in it or whatever, amoebas running around that, and it signs up to say no water skiing, no swimming, that's not a good day also. And, clean water is what Florida's all about, and this act helps to clean up our waters. So I've worked hard on getting septic to sewer conversions throughout the state, support those bills too.
Do you live in your district?
Absolutely. You have to. In fact, I'm one of 2 representatives that had to move districts due to the redistricting as a result of the census. So I believe it was Representative Gregory, Chair Gregory, had to move from his home. I had to move from my home in Delray Beach. I've got an apartment in West Palm Beach now. On the day you get elected, you have to be a resident of your district. So you don't get to wait until after the election. So a month before the election, I rented the apartment out in downtown West Palm Beach, and we're happy there. We love it. We got a beautiful apartment. My wife's from New York City, so she's used to downtown living versus beachfront living. So she just adapted real well, and I followed suit.
You're running for re-election.
Mm-hmm.
Sum up your campaign in one word.
2 words: knocking doors. We knock, I think over the last 3 elections, we've knocked about 110,000 doors, my campaign. It's my favorite part of campaigning is just going up to somebody's door. You've never met them before. They have no clue who's coming, and just say hi, finding out what their number one issue is on their mind and trying to help them through it, making new friends.
If you win re-election, how do you realistically see Florida in the next 2 years?
I don't look at it as if I'm going to win my next election. That might be arrogant, but I don't know if anybody works harder in campaigning than I do. and I look forward to the campaign. How do I see Florida? I see more of the same. I think we march on down that conservative path that we've been going down. I think Florida set the example for all the other states in the country, and you turn on the news, national news, they're talking about Florida, and if something happens in another state, they compare it to Florida. So I think we're doing the right thing.
What's something about the Capitol that a lot of people don't know? A secret spot or a little known fact?
That's a great question, Alicia. I would have to say one thing about the Capitol that they don't know is that we have the old Capitol here in its original state. And we just had a session for the first time, I believe, in 50 years. We had session there one day last week. And the thing that struck me most, if you could imagine being in a building built in the 1800s, okay, and here we are in 2024 having session there. I mean, it was a real session, real bill got passed. The thing that impressed me most was the sound that reverberates through that, the House side of that chambers. We said the Pledge of Allegiance, and it gave me chills. You could hear, there's 120 of us. You could hear any one of us in that Pledge of Allegiance. It was so strange. It was so powerful. It just reverberated through your body. And I spoke to the speaker about it afterwards, and he says, Mike, same thing. I realized the exact same thing. We've got to do this again. It was powerful. Really know where our feet are grounded, and to see the history and to walk the halls and, see how things used to be done in the committee rooms, compared to what we have today back then. And, the governors in today used to be stables for the Capitol back then before cars. So,
what's a misconception people have about your job?
oh, that's an easy one. It's the one I had too about my job, is that it was a part-time job, and that, you're just up there 60 days. Don't worry about it. It's a full-time job and then some. I presented a bill this morning, just one bill of my 7 in one committee of 3 committees I've got to present in of each one of the bills, and then the House floor for all of them. And, I spent probably 20 hours just preparing my presentation for the bill in one committee. As chair on a committee, I spend 80 hours to get ready for a 2-hour committee. It's a full-time job between serving here in Tallahassee in the Florida Capitol and committees and session. We go home and we have to deal with our constituents and all their issues, and then campaigning on top of that. So it's more than a full-time job. So, but I love it. I wouldn't do it if I didn't. And as long as I can get something done to help people of Florida, I continue.
If you weren't a state representative, what would you do?
What would I do? That's a great question. I would spend a lot more time with my beautiful wife.
What's a fun fact about your job that people don't know?
A fun fact. It's a lot of work here. But I'd say, you never know who's coming in the door next. We had Palm Beach County Days, and 250 people come through my door. I offer every one of them a bourbon, when they come here. I had one day I had firefighters here at 8:15 in the morning, and we're all having bourbon. They set the record for the earliest. But you never know who's going to come through the door. Yesterday I had a constituent up, and she had no purpose except just to visit the Capitol, meet her state rep. Apparently I had knocked on her door once. She was here with her mom and her little girl, 2 years old. And that was special. That was really nice. And she drew me a picture. It's over there on the wall now. The little girl did. I think times like that really are the rewarding parts of being here in the state capitol.
What does your perfect day include?
I guess a perfect day would be waking up to the sunrise for a walk on the beach with my wife and two little puppies with a cup of coffee. And it would end with sitting there watching the sunset with a cold drink and my wife and 2 kids. And whatever we did in the middle was just a bonus.
Thank you so much for taking the time.
Great. Enjoyed it.